Hello and welcome to this Online College of Coding video tutorial series. This is the fourth video in the series of Breaky blocks intermediate in GameMaker. In this video, we're going to be creating a ball and getting it to launch and bounce from the paddle. Before watching this video, it's recommended you've seen the previous videos in the series, as well as the introduction to GameMaker videos and the intermediate programming concept videos. Let's get started. Just like the other elements of the game so far, the ball will need a sprite and an object. We then have to program the object. So the ball will have to be programmed to bounce off the walls in our game and also the paddle. Let's start by creating that sprite. We're going to call it SPR ball and choose the load sprite button. Select the ball sprite and open it. Then we need to center the sprite and tick precise collision checking. Now we can press OK and create the new object, obj_ball, give it the ball sprite, and use the add event button to add a collision event with the wall. From the move tab, drag the bounce action into the actions list, select precisely, and tell it to bounce against all objects. Press OK, and now we need to add a new event, a step event. And from the control tab, we drag in an execute code action and type the following line of code. Speed is a built-in variable. By setting it to 6, we're making our ball start moving at that speed. Now we're going to add our ball into the room. So press OK and OK, then open up the room. In the Objects tab, go down and select it from the list and pop it right there. Now we should be able to test out it bouncing against the walls by pressing the play button. There we go. The next thing we have to do is get our ball to bounce off the paddle. So quit the game and open up the object paddle where we need to add a create event. And we're going to do the same thing here we did with the walls. So add a execute code action. We've created a global variable that's going to keep track of the paddle. So by storing the paddle's ID like we have, we can easily access its position from within the ball object and use that for collisions, which is exactly what we're doing for the paddle's movement between the walls. Press OK and close the paddle object and open the ball back up. Now we can add a create event in the ball and give it an execute code action. We don't want our ball to start the game bouncing between the walls. We need it to launch off the paddle, and it's going to want to launch up. So we need to change its direction to be 270. Setting the direction of the ball to 270 will change it so that the ball points down. And this is actually how we're going to get it to go up. By putting the ball on the edge of the paddle, it moves down, bounces on the paddle, and then moves up. We can close the code editor and select the step event of the ball and edit the code there. So that we don't have to type global.paddle instance each time we need some information from the paddle, we create a variable with the same value and a shorter name. So this variable paddle will only be used in this script. The way GameMaker detects and manages collisions is not entirely optimal for our Breaky blocks game. So we're going to do it ourselves, because it's not that hard. We're going to use the place meeting function to test if the ball and the paddle are colliding. And we put this inside a while loop, because while they are colliding, we move the ball up 1 pixel, reset its direction, and then check again. When resetting the direction, we're setting it to 90, which is straight up, and we're also adding a bit of an angle based on where the paddle hit. So the ball will bounce away in a direction, and this is calculated as the difference in their X positions. Now save and close the script, and save and close the object, and open up our room quickly. We're going to change the room speed from 30 to 60, then press OK. By setting the room speed to 60, we're increasing the speed of the game. So let's just quickly test all that. Cool, the ball bounced off the paddle and everything worked well. Now, the only thing is we don't have a roof in our game. So let's go back into the room and go to the Objects tab. To make the roof, we're going to use a wall and just turn it sideways. So select the wall object from the Objects dropdown and add one to the room. Right click on it and go to Instance Properties, where we're going to change the rotation to 90. Press OK. Right click again to set the position by pressing Change Position and set its X to 640 and its Y to 4. That puts it right along the top of the room. And now, just to fix up our game room, we can click and drag the walls onto the end of the roof. Press OK and test the game. Awesome, the ball bounces off the roof, bounces off the walls, and bounces off the paddle. At the start of the Breaky Blocks game, the ball's attached to the paddle, but we haven't added that yet. It's quick and easy, so let's do it now. Open up the paddle object and go into its create event and open up the execute code action. We're going to create a variable called attached and give it the value true. Press OK, close the paddle and open up the ball. And open up the code within the ball's step event. So the ball stays attached to the paddle when we want, we'll let the paddle's attached variable control whether the ball follows the paddle's X position or whether it's moving around and bouncing by its own accord. The if statement in the step event is going to set the X position of the ball to that of the paddle, so it's attached. Otherwise, if the variable is false, the ball will be free. Now close the code editor and close the ball. Let's test all that out. So the ball follows the paddle, but not how we thought. It's still way up where we placed it in the room. If you open the room, you can check it out. So to fix it, let's just delete it from the room, and we'll create it in the script instead. So open the paddle object and go to its create event. Because we deleted the ball from within the room, we now need to create it from within the script. We're using the instance create function and setting the ball's X position to the paddle's X position, and the ball's Y position to be the paddle's Y value plus our new ball Y variable value. Then we're setting an alarm 0, to be 3 times the room speed, which is 3 seconds. Because we've set an alarm event, it'll automatically count down. The only thing left to do is add the code that's going to be run once it goes off. So close the code editor. Let's click the add event button, and because the alarm we set was alarm 0, we need to add the alarm 0 event. Then we drag in the execute code action as usual and type some code. The code this time is super simple. All we need to do is change the attached variable to be false. Now we can close the code editor and close the paddle and test the game. Any code within the event for an alarm will get run when that alarm goes off. So to launch our ball, all we need to do is detach it from the paddle. The ball will then start moving on its own, and that's exactly what we can see happening here. Which brings us to the end of part 4 of this Breaky Blocks tutorial. Well done for sticking it out. You're making awesome progress. In the next tutorial, we're going to be adding the bricks to the game. Hope to see you then.